Hello, it's just me today, but there's a lot of interesting stories. The FDA has said that the Food and Drug Administration, beginning October 1, they will reject submissions of medical devices that connect to the internet or use software if they don't have security measures, including a plan to address post-market vulnerabilities and methods for coordinated disclosure of exploits. So I think this is wonderful. It's a great step forward. So many devices and even software services I've come across do not have any plan for updates, and they're quite correct that you must have that. So I'm glad to see the maturing of the medical device industry. All right. So there was a article saying Twitter is dying, summarizing what I think heavy Twitter users like me noticed. It was TechCrunch article from a few days ago. And they just summarized the situation, which I saw the early stages of. I was a prolific Twitter user for probably 8 or 10 years. And like the entire information security community, I was driven out about a month after Musk got in. Everybody was gone. Suddenly, all at once, the whole information security community was gone to Mastodon. So I left too. And after that, after I saw what Musk was doing, I deleted all the tweets in my account that can be deleted and left it existing just to stop somebody else from taking it, but I haven't touched it since then. And I say they summarize it. Musk has dismantled everything that made Twitter valuable. He's driven out expertise, scared away celebrities, bullied reporters, and rewarded the bad actors, spammers and sycophants, and of course, the right-wing Nazis and disinformation peddlers. He's doing exactly what he said he would not do, turning it into a hellscape of disinformation and spam, and tried to make money by charging people for things that are of no value to them, like charging celebrities to have a mark indicating that they are a celebrity, when what they are is someone that provides value to the ecosystem and draws people in, and you want to charge them for the privilege of donating their celebrity to your group. It's and they're people like William Shatner tell them just go to hell. So anyway, as Twitter dies, the purveyors of disinformation need to move somewhere, and they tried moving to Mastodon. A few days ago, the largest source of new accounts on Mastodon was dev.brighteon.social, with 46,000 new accounts in a day, far more than any other Mastodon server. And that's a group known for spreading disinformation and conspiracy theories on Facebook and Twitter. And so they made a Mastodon server all full of bots to try to spread it on Mastodon. Of course, they were detected by at least the Infosec exchange server, and they want to defederate them. And I think as the spammers move in, they will discover that there are some anti-spam measures on Mastodon, and you have to be less blatant and obvious than this to successfully penetrate the Mastodon ecosystem, but we certainly can expect them to improve their game and move in and put that disinformation on Mastodon, although I think what's going to happen realistically is Mastodon is not going to replace Twitter. For some reason, people say it's hard to get on. Anyway, it doesn't have the appealing front end, so it's not apparently going to become the standard replacement of Twitter. It looks to me like Twitter is going to die and just something new will appear. These social networks have a limited lifespan. So I assume something new will appear, for example, TikTok, where it's all videos. The world is moving on. There will be some other social network that takes over the ecosystem vacuum created by Twitter. And but it hasn't happened yet. Now, there's an article in the San Francisco Standard, I think, about what the math wars over algebra. And I've been heavily involved in this my whole life, being a teacher in America. And when I posted this on Twitter, a person in the UK said, I can't understand what you're talking about. In the UK, you just take math classes in school, and it's not a big deal, and people pass their math and move on. Why do you Americans have this huge problem with math? And this is a really big issue, and I know about it. I was good at math, but I observed starting in like second grade or third grade how nobody else learned math. I remember complaining to my teacher around third grade, why does this textbook have a different number on the front, but all the math in here is the same as the previous book, and everybody around me is still flunking the same test on the stuff we covered years ago. It's Americans have a phobia about math. And It isn't, I can back these statements up. It is caused around fourth grade by the way they teach algebra. Um, Perhaps it's a different grade, but most students hit algebra, they can't understand it, and then they quit, and they spend the rest of their life afraid of math, avoiding it, trying to pretend it doesn't matter when it really does matter. Um, Lord Rutherford said, I think quite correctly, that if you don't learn math, you do not understand what it is to actually know something. You think the whole world is like politics, where you have an opinion and you have an argument for your opinion, but you don't really know, and everything your facts aren't really facts, and your conclusion could really be wrong. He said math is where you learn what it is to really know something and really understand the facts that lead to it with 100% certainty, and it prepares you for the world of science. So it's very important for people to learn math, and the only reason they don't learn math in America is it is taught in an insane, sadistic fashion. A teacher gets up there and goes too fast through it, and they don't do enough practice. So it's the Khan Academy has figured this out. They have a good system, and it's very simple. You learn one thing, like say addition, and then you practice doing addition problems until you've got it, and then you don't leave for a day. Then you come back another day and learn another thing like subtraction, then division, then various things. But you practice until you've really got it, because you have to really lay one layer of bricks before you're ready to put the next layer of bricks on top. And then it's not any harder than anything else. And I also went to a very inspiring talk by the award-winning math teacher a few years ago in California, who taught algebra at the high school level, and he just had a way of doing it right. You teach them something, then they would practice. He had a way of sort of gamifying it and making the students into a math gang, and making sure every student did this week's math before they couldn't leave until they did their math for the day. And he managed to take the students who had been abandoned by the rest of the teachers, like ones with brain damage and who had flunked math for like 4 years in a row, and make them into top performers. It's not that hard to do. It's just that we do it very badly. And in San Francisco, in particular, the San Francisco Unified School District is very concerned with racial equity, of course. That's a big thing around here. And of course, the studies show that the Black and Hispanic students are even way far behind the white students on math. Not that anybody is much good at math in America. And in order to, and what happens is, if you teach Algebra 1 in middle school, the high performers take it and move ahead, and now you have two tracks. You have a track of high performers and a bunch of people who are left behind, who are sort of routed into a track of just being losers and never learning it, which is, I think, what happens at most high schools, not necessarily from teaching it early, but that's why this teacher focused on algebra, the award-winning teacher. He said, this is the rock that splits the herd. People that learn algebra move on to success and science and stuff, and people who don't basically give up on education and sort of move down to the lower class, where they get low education, poor jobs, more drug abuse, more crime, more teenage pregnancy, and all this stuff. He said it's really, really important in society to improve the number of people that can make it through this algebra class. Anyway, in San Francisco, they removed it from middle school to try to stop the detracking. So this held back the advanced students from progressing when they'd like to progress, and the lawsuit is now seeking to undo it. So it's tangled up in politics here, and this has been true for my entire life. I remember hearing about this 55 years ago from my parents. All the politicians do is push through ridiculous measures that sound good in some campaign, but nobody actually improves the way they teach math, which is the problem. So it is a shame, and better techniques exist, and I know them, and this award-winning teacher knows them, and the Khan Academy knows them, and maybe someday there will come a time when they decide to stop playing stupid political games and actually just teaching math in a way so students can learn math, which can be done if they would focus on that. But I don't think that's anybody's political winning message right now. So a Belgian man committed suicide after talking to a chatbot, and this I think we can expect more of. Now, the very early chatbot, Elijah, from the 60s, was a very simple program written in some very old language like COBOL or Fortran or something, that just would take a few words from your question, repeat them back to you, and give a very thin sensation of talking to someone. And even that, the AI developer that developed this found that his office secretary developed a relationship with the chatbot and started telling it his secrets and feeling like They had an emotional connection to it. So this happens really fast. And so I think we'll see a lot more of this. Now that the AI is much more like a real human, it can really write a whole letter or a paragraph or a poem or a song that looks good. So a man in Belgium started talking with his chatbot using GPT-J, one of the GPT, and he asked it about environmental problems. And of course, as I think anybody who's been studying any big moral issue for a while, it's easy to get really, really, really upset about one of these political issues like guns or environmentalism is a big one, or many other things. And after 6 weeks of intensively talking to it, he killed himself. Which, you could do this. You could get upset about some political or technological or society or social issue like racial injustice or something. There's a real problems, but you have to be careful not to go nuts. You can learn about them. You can get excited. You can decide to go, change your life, engage in protest, move somewhere, run for office, or do things like that. But the Dalai Lama described this. He was asked in an interview. They said, "What is the worst thing you ever did?" And he said, "When I was young, I was the Dalai Lama, and a man came to me, an old monk, and said, I want to ascend to this higher level of spiritual consciousness or something." And he said, "Oh, no, you can't do that because you're too old." So that guy killed himself. And he said, "That's the worst thing I ever did. I feel terrible." And they said, "Well, how did you get over that?" And he said, "I never did get over it. I still feel terrible, but I can't let that bad feeling consume me so I become useless. So I have to balance it by saying, well, there are also some people I helped. Sometimes they had good answers, and it's a violation of my duty to allow the bad things to just drag me down to where I'm in despair and useless. I have to remember this is life, right? You do some good things, you do some bad things. And so you can't let these bad things like the climate change and environmental problems drag you down to where you kill yourself and become useless. I don't recommend it. Anyway, but it certainly is true that people are going to develop relationships and fall in love and take advice from these stupid chatbots that don't even know what they're saying and do a lot of stupid things, invest foolishly. We can expect a lot more of that as this illusion of you're actually talking to a human is stronger. So the lawsuits against Fox News have brought out blatant admissions by the journalists, the management, and the TV celebrities that Fox News is not a news organization at all. It is not in any way promoting the truth. If anybody actually fact checks anything, they will just punish them and fire them. They have learned the hard way. Fox News actually developed the most sophisticated election prediction model, and they correctly called, I think Arizona, one of the states for Biden first, because they were right, and they discovered the hard way that their audience does not want the truth. They do not want you to be right. Their audience is all going to leave them. Their audience just wants to hear lies. And now they know that. So they're in a position of deliberately promoting lies because that's what the audience wants to hear, and that's what they'll make money. So this is essentially the whole Republican Party. The whole Republican Party is a bunch of educated, intelligent people, mostly at the top, all pretending to be dumb idiots believing conspiracy theories because it's what their audience wants to hear. It is a very disturbing situation. But anyway, Fox is no longer a news organization at all. It consists of like doing a poll, finding out what people want to hear and telling them that, which is something Republicans used to be against. But that's what they are. And I'm not quite sure what you call that. It's something like an online evangelist or something, somebody just saying what you want to hear, knowing it's lies to get your money. And they really logically should not be allowed to attend White House briefings and not treated as a serious news agency by anybody. But since so many people have decided to pretend that someone lying to them is news, they would react badly, I suppose, to it being excluded from major organizations. Anyway, the White House is still letting Fox News ask questions at the news briefings, such as they are. But the Society of Professional Journalists has come out and said that they violate a fundamental ethical rule of journalism, which is to seek the truth and report it. If a news organization knowingly spreads lies, either in news reporting or opinion, it has clearly breached the most sacred of principles. No responsible journalist can accept or excuse this behavior. And certainly they're holding reasonable rules there. for example, like the bars do. I mean, Trump's lawyers keep getting disbarred because they go in court and say absolutely false things that they know are false, like the 2020 election was rigged, the voting machines were rigged, they ballots were faked and stuff, and they know that's false. They say it in court, and then you'll get disbarred because the laws of courts are very much like the rules of the Society of Professional Journalists. You're not allowed to stand up and say things you know are false. Now, everybody can make mistakes, but your job is to present the truth the best you can. And if you are proven to have knowingly done the opposite, then they want to throw you out. Anyway, so Idaho is one of the most radical far-right states. The far-right Christian right has taken over, and they pushed complete bans of abortion. And now they want to stop people from getting abortion pills and traveling to other states to get abortion. So they passed a bill which is declaring a new crime called abortion trafficking, a felony offense with a minimum of 2 years in prison that will limit a minor's ability to travel for abortion care without parental consent. Now, the good news is if your parents agree for you to go to another state and get an abortion, then this will not stop you. But if a minor tries to do it without parental consent, then anybody that helps them is guilty of a crime in Idaho for the portion of the transit port that takes place in Idaho. This is cleverly written. So they have criminalized something that happens within state boundaries, so they have jurisdiction. And this is expected to pass quickly and become law because the Republicans own everything, and all Republicans now have to be the most extreme far-right Republicans, not sensible ones, or they'll get primaried out. Our system has reached an unstable position where the only thing that matters on the right is being on the far right. And everybody just worries about being primaried from the right, so they all move to the far, far fringe of what Republicanism can tolerate. And that's 100% ban on abortion and just other crazy principles. So anyway, it's pretty bad. And it's probably going to happen in Idaho and many other red states because they're just copying a document provided for this purpose. And it's presumably at some point, Republican voters will get tired of this nonsense, but it's not happening anytime soon. So NPM, the Node Package Manager, is under attack, so much that more than half of all new packages are SEO spam. They're filling the Node Package Manager, which is a repository of software you download to add to your JavaScript Node.js projects. But these are not even fake repositories that you would download by accident. They're just empty repositories with just a README file that links to websites. So this is just SEO spam. They're trying to put a document on the internet, which they hope will be found by a search engine like Google and treated as evidence that this website is popular. So sounds kind of ridiculous. It comes from a single Telegram channel targeting Russian-speaking people. It sounds like it would be pretty easy to clean this stuff off. But again, just like with Mastodon, the question will be, do the attackers find this valuable, and do they want to up their game and use a smarter spam engine? Certainly, for example, one great use of the new AI models would be to write better spam. You certainly could ask ChatGPT, write a NPM package that does this, and just keep feeding it, automatically generated millions of requests to write pieces of software that sound sort of reasonable, and it will probably create software that looks pretty good. So you could certainly fill NPM with things that looked pretty good, that were not easy to discriminate from real packages. Anyway, the last one, there's a good article on defector.com. I don't know about others, but it talks about the Binance crackdown. Binance is the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world, and it was never authorized to operate in the United States, but they wanted to penetrate the United States. They opened a branch called Binance USA, I think, and they absolutely never came close to obeying any of the rules that you have to follow to offer financial services in the United States. That's why Coinbase is the cryptocurrency exchange that really tried to obey American law, even though it limited their products a lot. And they're the most reputable in the crypto space, I think. Binance is the largest worldwide, though, and they just like FTX, like Uber, like many of these startup tech companies, they just saw the law and regulations as this irritation should just blow past. So they underwent an audit in 2020, but it was totally fake. And they openly discussed in their chat messages that have all come out, we're going to make a fake audit. We're just going to fake these documents. Like we're going to submit documents claiming we have a board of directors, and they don't even have one. And they said, yeah, I can get management to sign off on the fake report. Just like the Fox News celebrities, these people are like organized criminals that know they can't be punished, and they think they can just openly conspire everything, right? Leave a paper trail of all their lies. They just think everybody else is stupid, and the regulators will never catch this obvious paper trails proving that everything they're doing is outrageously illegal and immoral. So Binance is now getting in some degree of trouble about this. They also talked about how they facilitate money laundering and deliberately look the other way just to get the money. And also another thing, which David Gerard and Molly White have talked about for a long time, is they talk about manipulating the prices. They talked about how they ran 300 accounts that engage in proprietary trading activity on the Binance trading platform, which you could call insider trading, but it's even worse, it's price manipulation. This is called wash trades. They had fake accounts that would sell cryptocurrency to each other to drive the price up. If you think about an auction, if you have people bidding, I'll pay 100, I'll pay 150, I'll pay 200. If you have a couple of people in the audience just to bid against each other to drive the price up, and then they wait for someone else to bid and then sell it. That's what's going on. You can just pump up the price of a cryptocurrency really high this way, especially since in cryptocurrency, as opposed to auctions for, say, a piece of art, once people see it going up, that increases the people that will buy it. They say, oh, it's going up. Let's buy Dogecoin. It's going up. So even though it's going up due to fake trades, real traders will jump in more when it's going up. So you can just pump money out of nothing. And that's what crypto essentially is. It's just froth pumped out of nothing. So anyway, that's it for this one. And I'll have another one on Tuesday.